Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Better World with Adrienne, the podcast. My name is Adrienne. I am your host. I am a shaman, a healer, a guide, a breathwork facilitator, an astrologer, and I'm a leader of a new earth. So I'm so excited for today's episode. I'm so excited to dive into this really epic topic that's been on my list ever since I started the pod. And yeah, it is deeply important to me, important to my story, important to my first contribution to a better world and a new earth, mindful music, which I'm going to go into that very deeply. And then what I believe is truly needed for all new earth leaders, all humans who want to be a part of making a contribution to a better world in a time where it's not always easy. And here's the thing, it's not going to be easy. If it was going to be easy, everyone would do it, right? If it was easy, everyone would do it. And the truth is, it's not easy. The truth is, it requires tenacity, strength, courage, and it's a journey. So this episode, I'm so excited. It's called Undercover Buddhas and Inner Child Healing. And yeah, I'm so freaking excited. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you are coming back to the podcast, welcome back. So I want to share before our transmission what is on the altar today. So a couple new things on the altar today. I love just like setting a stage for us for a beautiful transmission. I have some local sage burning here that is from Illinois. I'm currently based in Chicago, Illinois. I have one unscented white candle for energetic protection, healing, for my guides, for your guides, for any angels that want to come in and bless this transmission. I have my purple stone that's been guiding me since February. I have my Amazonite malachite crystal, which is literally looks like a new earth. This is prosperity, blessings in the material realm, which is what we're doing in a new earth. A new earth is not in the 5D. It's not in a vision or a vision board. We're making it real. I also have, because she ties in very much into this episode, one of my mermaid statues, figurines. I have mermaids all over my house. I even have like salt and pepper shakers that are mermaids, which are really fucking cool, honestly. I have a little dolphin gemstone. It's a clear quartz gemstone that's the shape of a dolphin. This has been on my bedside table for probably 5 years. And then I also have, in the theme of the title of the episode, I have a picture of me and my siblings and our puppy, Champ, our golden retriever, who I originally wanted to name Golden Champion Sunrise Rainbow, like some big long thing. My mom was like, cool, that can be its full name. We're just gonna call him Champ, because there's no way I'm going out on the deck and calling that every day. So shout out to Champ. But I have this picture of me and my siblings, and it's in the original frame. This frame is, a little bit tattered, has a little bit of love on it, and it just represents my inner child and my soul. So we're going to be talking about the inner child today. So that is on the altar. And before we begin, let's connect. I'm also very specifically wearing my grandma's earrings today. and they're turquoise. They're connected. They connect me to her. This is my grandma. Her name is Jerry. It's my dad's mom. She's on the other side. I see her all the time though. And it really connects me to my bloodline and water and just everything. She was obsessed with water and the sun, just like me too. So learn a lot from her. Okay, as we begin, let's connect our souls. And today we'll take 3 deep breaths. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, I invite you to stop. If you're on a walk, if you're driving your car, if you're working out, just let yourself slow down for a moment. Literally take your hands and wipe off your shoulders, anything that you've been carrying, brush it off, brush it off, brush it off. Inhale through your nose. Hold it at the top, hold through your third eye, and allow a new vision of your life to come forward through what you receive in this episode. Exhale out the mouth. Inhale, full presence, a new beginning, joy. Exhale out anything you've been holding on to, any fears. One final inhale. Feel the divine white light surround your whole entire body, blessing you, welcoming this transmission, blessing all of this for the highest good and timeline of all. And exhale out the mouth. Gently open your eyes. Come back to this time, this space, and let's begin. So this podcast, A Better World with Adrienne, that's me, Adrienne. And this is a place where we all get to come together and really talk about ideas, healings, modalities, ways of living, tools, insights, astrology, like all the things that can help us make a better world. And I'm here to equip you as a leader. This is a place where you get to receive, learn, love, grow, and where I get to share as the full embodiment of me. So a lot of you know this about me. If you're new here, maybe you don't know this. I have several different facets to my being, to my work, just like all of us do. So none of us are fit in a box. And this is something that I love about astrology, especially because it's like we all have every energy of the entire zodiac in us, literally coded into our souls and our cells. So for me, I have my shamanism, I have my breathwork part of my business, manifesting, astrology, and then I've been a classically trained musician since I was 4. Both my parents are musicians. They met in music school, and classical music and high performance and the art form of sound has been a deep, deep, deep part of my life and still is part of my life. Like just yesterday, I played the piano for, I don't even know, I lost track of time. I just pulled out this Beethoven book that I hadn't played in years. And I time traveled through music. I time traveled to other realms. I time traveled to previous versions of myself. Like, oh my God, it was so nourishing and just joyful. And so music has been a huge part of my life. And my first contribution to a better world is a mission, vision, and business called, mindful music. And mindful music is my creation, my invention of the combination of mindfulness and music at the piano with kids to help them stay who they are, love themselves, achieve excellence, learn music, and gain a mindfulness toolkit for life so that they can make their unique contribution to a better world. So you'll notice the common thread of everything I do is it's to make a better world by way of each person living their soul's truth, living their dreams. And we're all natural born creators. So I work with kids a lot and I love it. It's like I started working with kids because when I got out of grad school and I started taking auditions for orchestras, because my main instrument that I specialized in is actually French horn. A lot of people don't know that. And I started taking auditions. I just started teaching lessons because, that's what you do. That's like the status quo. And if you know anything about me, I'm kind of a big fuck you to the status quo in every way. And I'm so deeply proud of that. Honestly, sometimes when I agree with something that's mainstream, it's pretty disorienting for me. I'm like, wait, huh? I work with kids a lot. And when I started teaching lessons, I fell in love with it. And that's where mindful music was born. It was also born from, one of my siblings is on the autism spectrum. And I learned a lot about how every person is different and how people get to be honored for how they learn and how we get to do better. So if you want to learn more about the origin story, I have a whole episode on it. It's called How I Built Mindful Music. Today, though, Undercover Buddhas and Inner Child Healing, Undercover Buddhas. So I'm going to talk about what an undercover Buddha is, what they have to teach us in this lifetime, what that even means, and then I'm going to go into inner child healing and why it's so deeply important for all of us, and especially new earth leaders. So if you're here and you resonate with my work at all, you're a new earth leader in some way. And one of the things that I've said consistently is like, parents are new earth leaders. Like, you're literally teaching a human how to exist in the world. Like, that's not leadership. I don't know what is. And a lot of people do it really unconsciously and really in an unhealed, mindless way. And so one of the pillar words of my whole brand and life is mindfulness. And mindfulness is not passive. Mindfulness is a willingness to be in a relationship with the truth and then act on that truth. So that's the outline of today's transmission. So undercover Buddhas. Undercover Buddhas. Kids are undercover Buddhas. And why do I say undercover? Because our society does not respect kids. Our society does not give them the same merit and value as adults, when many times they are way more advanced than the adults making decisions. So I don't know if anybody listening, if you were ever told, because I said so. Like as a kid, if you asked why, and an adult said, because I said so. And I'm like, I had a big problem with that growing up, and it's probably why I got into lots of, let's call them tiffs with my parents or adults in authority positions, I would say, because I questioned everything. I'm like, why? And now when I see kids doing that, I'm like, yes, please question everything. You get to know why. And I have the humble spirit as a grown-up to know that, like, hey, we're equals. So undercover Buddhas, kids are undercover Buddhas. I see in my lessons every single week how much they have to teach me and all of us about presence, about joy, about faith, about love, that so many adults have completely lost track of. And it really just brings us back to our fucking roots of who we are. So I call them undercover Buddhas because they're not respected by society like adults. Like, I heard someone say a couple months ago, they were like, yeah, they responded to me like they were my equal. And they were like offended. And I was like, yes, they are our equal. They are humans just like us. And this is a huge fucking problem, and why so many adults are so wounded when they get older is like they weren't treated as divine beings. They were treated as less than. I don't fucking believe in that. I don't believe it's wrong. And I'm not one of those people that's gonna be like, oh, there's multiple truths multiple things are true at the same time. Yes, multiple things are true at the same time, of course. And there's something called a moral compass. There's something called right and wrong. There's something called integrity, okay? And it is simply not right to treat kids or young people like they're less than. They get to be revered just as we are for their unique wisdom. And so my whole purpose in mindful music is so they can keep their wisdom. Because what happens is kids are born into this world undercover Buddhas. And I mean, they're in their original state. And then what happens? Adults tell them their ideas don't matter. Adults tell them their feelings don't matter. Adults tell them they're supposed to be seen, not heard. All these things occur. They're not nurtured. They're shut down. And the egos of adults harm them. And then what happens? These kids lose trust with themselves. They lose their self-love. They lose their hope, their belief. And they grow up to have wounded, baggage, and then they perpetuate the cycle. So this is a fucking interruption to that cycle. And the first thing is, I want every single person experiencing this transmission to really think about and feel into kids as undercover Buddhas. So just one example, like during COVID-19 pandemic, kids were like, yeah, cool, we're staying home. Yeah, fine, that's fine. Oh, we're gonna wear masks. Okay, cool. Like literally able to pivot on a dime. Able to innovate on a dime. Resilience on a dime. Adaptability on a dime. And the whole time, I wanted to just give my students a megaphone and like spread it to the whole fucking universe. And they're like, yeah, they would just say, I cannot capture every single, one-liner that I've received from one of my students that's changed my life. I simply cannot. There's too many. Just being around kids, you see how wise they are. And even just from a functional movement standpoint, it's like babies and toddlers move their bodies in such a way that's like so natural and healthy. It's like the original way. And then what happens? We all are on screens too much. We all, do A, B, C, D, E. We live in a sedentary lifestyle that messes up our bodies. And then we start not moving the way that we always were meant to, and the way that we came here moving. Same thing at a spiritual level. And so kids are undercover Buddhas, and kids are new earth leaders to be respected, revered, honored, and equipped so they can stay themselves in a world that seeks to take them out. That's what gets to occur. Once we realize that these kids are the undercover Buddhas, which they are, and what is Buddha? What do I mean? Buddha is a teacher, like a deep spiritual teacher, and like divine archetype. Obviously, like I could go into the full Buddhist definition, but I mean, it's like somebody trying to define God. It's like, how do you define that? Like, So this is huge. This is huge. Undercover Buddhas. So I really it's such an immense gift for me to be around kids on the daily and experience their magic and experience their wisdom and their, oh my gosh, their unique ideas and just fresh perspective. And from a shamanic perspective, all of these kids that are entering the 3D plane right now, they're woke as fuck. They're way more woke than the adults, okay? So what we're experiencing right now is a big shattering, a big separation, and a wave of new earth creators, leaders is being revealed. And some of us are grown-ups, and the kids are like, yeah, why wouldn't we do this? It's like the kids that they're like I have a lot of kids that they have different pronouns, and they're like, yeah, why, who cares? Just like shit that adults cannot deal with many times. And these are low vibration frequencies that get to be healed. Kids don't have an issue with this because they're in their original state. And so we get to respect them. We get to honor them and love them as our equal, not through saying, I love you, through the way we treat them, through the way we honor their feelings, through the way that we honor their ideas and respect them. Now, are you going to sit down with your fucking 5-year-old and be like, okay, tell me how we should budget out this trip? Hell no, because they don't have that skill set yet, right? They don't have the skill set of money management. However, they have the soul set that all of us adults get to learn from day in and day out. So let them be your teacher. Let your ego die and let kids be your teacher. Here's the thing. I was born with a lot of gifts. And of course, I took those gifts and I honed them many years to create skill sets that I'm proud of, and ways of living that I'm proud of, and results that I'm proud of. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is my relationship with my students. There's so much mutual trust and respect and love and learning from both sides. I like to say, I teach my kids about music and they teach me about life. And it's true. They really do. When I was going through the first portal of my spiritual awakening was my journey beginning my journey of stopping alcohol, and I started meditating and mindfulness. And then the second chapter of this epic journey was when I broke up with and left the man that I thought I would marry. And let me tell you, I never would have gotten through that without my students. My students have no idea, because that's a wildly inappropriate. Oh, hey, yeah, I'm going through this huge heartbreak. Because first of all, it's not about me. Lessons are not about me, y'all. I'm holding deep emotional space for them, for learning, for emotional intelligence, for mindfulness, for self-love. However, just witnessing them move through these spaces healed me. Taught me. On days when I thought I would cry driving between my lessons because I was so heartbroken. And these kids have no idea how much they taught me and healed me. I get emotional just thinking about it. Woo! So shout out to all of my mindful music students. Shout out to all of my mindful music families and moms that are listening. Like, you have no idea how much you mean to me. And the fact that I get to be a part of your life every week. Wow. So just a little bit about Undercover Buddhas. So the first invitation of today is changing your perspective on kids. I don't care if you ever have kids. I don't care if you're a teacher or not. I don't care about any of it. If you're alive and breathing and you resonate with me and my work, this is very important for you. There's something here for you. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been coming through my channel so strong. So something that I know it's time to record a podcast on a specific topic when I feel like I'm going to throw up. When I feel like if I don't get this message out there, I am going to throw up. That's how I fucking know it's time. And that's what I had today. It's so interesting. Yesterday was Sacred Saturday, which that's my weekly digital detox. And I was like, I don't know what my podcast is going to be. And then I just let it be cool that I didn't know. And then this morning in my meditation, I was like, oh yeah, inner child, undercover Buddha, let's fucking go. That's been on my list for months. So what do I learn from Undercover Buddhas, AKA kids? Joy, presence, faith, innovation, unconditional love, purity, resilience, adaptability, and faith. So our job is to respect them, love them, learn from their wisdom, and equip them to keep their wisdom so they can stay Buddhas and share and make their mark on the planet. So what does this have to do with inner child healing? It has everything to do with inner child healing, because here's what's going on when people do not respect kids or honor them as the undercover Buddhas they are, is people have their own wounded inner child. People that are not able to witness the true greatness of young people have yet to witness the true greatness of their own inner child. As within, so without, right? So we cannot recognize something in another that we do not recognize in ourselves. So inner child healing is deeply, deeply, deeply important for every single person, and especially new earth leaders. And why is this? First of all, life gets to feel good. Life gets to be fucking fun. And there's a really big difference between something being childish and being childlike. So this is a really important distinction that Dr. Michael Beckwith, or is it Reverend Michael Beckwith? I want to see. Michael Beckwith, yeah, Reverend. So he's a spiritual thought leader. He's a fucking G. And he says there's a really big difference between being childish and childlike. And so I really resonated the first time I heard this, because childish, somebody being childish is avoiding responsibility, not following through on what they say they're going to do. To boil it down, being childish is immaturity and avoidance of responsibility and commitment. And I will say that surface spirituality is childish as hell. It's pretending that you care when you're not willing to live the life that backs it up. That's fucking childish. And it's a huge problem and block of a new earth. There's a lot of people masquerading out there as leaders when they're not leading. They're blocking. They're not even leading themselves. So that's childish. What is childlike? Childlike is wonder. It's straight up wonder at how fucking awesome this life is. It's acknowledging the beauty of life. It's acknowledging, like, holy shit, do you see a shooting star? This fucking rocks. Like, how is that even possible? Like, that's childish. That's the part of you that will go for dreams. That's the part of you that will believe when the whole world tells you not to believe. That's the part of you that has faith, that is unconditional love, that is just pure joy, and like just for joy itself, and play. So that's the big distinction. And I feel like a lot of people have resistance to inner child healing because they think it's childish. And it's not about being childish. You know what's actually childish? Avoiding inner child healing. Because what did I say the definition of childish is? It's immaturity and avoiding responsibility. And one of the greatest responsibilities is to heal our own inner child. And why does that matter? Your inner child is the most powerful part of you. It's more powerful than your mind. It's more powerful than your sacral or than your solar plexus chakra, okay? So when we connect it to the chakras, which the chakras are the energy centers of the body. If you want to learn more about this, I actually have one of my signature breathwork programs, which is going to launch again sometime in 2023. I think spring or summer. It's called Chakra Cellular Codes. So I'll drop the link in the show notes if you want to add your name to the wait list to be invited for the next round. These are the energy centers of the body. And so the inner child is associated with the sacral chakra, which is over the womb space. This is literally where life begins. This is creativity, joy, pleasure, abundance, play, delight. And so as a new earth leader, you are a creator. You are a creator of a new way of life. This requires your inner child. And like, think about an artist. An artist is painting on the canvas of their life. It's fucking fun, okay? Like, your inner child is the most powerful part of all of us because, yes, it's associated with the sacral. Also, like, it's pure faith and pure unconditional love. And these are the bedrocks of a new earth. And pure faith. Think about the big dreams you dreamed as a kid, all right? You're like, I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to be, I used to say all the time, I'm going to be an artist and an author and illustrator. I'm going to be an author and illustrator. And guess what? I'm finally getting back to the place in my life where I know I'm going to be an author. Like, there's no doubt about it. And then I've actually been looking at art classes. So that's really, really cool. But like, we don't come out of the womb being like, yeah, I'm going to be a lawyer because I know they make good money. Wah, wah. That's a distortion of the matrix for most people. Like, are there some people that, it really lights up their soul to do law? I'm sure. I haven't met one before, but I think because the reason I haven't met one yet is because the type of law and legal system that currently exist are all matrix driven. So in a new earth, we are going to have different structures. And so there's going to be different ways that those kinds of skill sets will be utilized in a divine way. However, they don't exist yet because it's all fucked and tainted and distorted by the matrix. So I do know some lawyers that really get a lot of fulfillment because they work with specific groups of people that they're like protecting from the matrix, which I mean is noble work. It's also still within the matrix. So we don't come out of the womb dreaming small. We come with big, soul aligned, pure dreams. And you want to know the part of me that kept believing, even when my lived reality didn't match my dreams, was my inner child. I knew in my soul, hey, mindful music is a dream. It's real, and I'm going to make it real. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what the journey looks like. I know this is possible. I don't care how many people say no. I don't care how many people tell me my prices are too high. I don't care how many people in the music industry flip the bird to me and just turn their back to me because they're so triggered by what I'm doing. Like, I don't care because this matters and I know it's fucking real and this is my destiny. That is my inner child. My inner child believes, because my inner child is my original state before all the bullshit happened in my life, before the trauma, before the, moments of despair, before adults told me to shut up, before, people told me I was going too big, that I was being too loud, like before all of that bullshit, is my inner child in my original state of pure faith, pure love, and pure joy. And that, my friends, is my most powerful asset as a leader of a new earth, as a human, and it's yours too. So, inner child healing, it's huge for all new earth leaders. And so this is where we get to tap in and remember our own undercover Buddha within each of us. So we have these undercover Buddhas walking earth right now, and we can all learn from them. Just take a moment walking down the street and stare at a kid and just see what they're doing. They're probably staring up at a tree or at a cloud. Meanwhile, all the grown-ups are fucking looking at their phones. It's like, turn it off, look up, and tap into your real life. That's what they're saying. They don't say it with words. They say it with who they be. And that's a lesson in itself as well, because it's like people say shit all the time. Rare is the soul who actually lives it. Kids live it. And so through inner child healing, we all get to remember and tap into the undercover Buddha that lives within. And it's about remembering. So if you want a refresher on this idea, go back to the very first podcast I ever recorded. It's called It's Self-Remembering. And I go into how everything I do and everything we're doing on earth right now, it's not about self-improvement, it's about self-remembering. And the difference between your soul and a skill set. So here's a couple different ways that I heal my inner child and stay tapped into my inner child. My inner child, like, I fucking love her. She rocks. She's a really important part of my life, and I prioritize her. And I didn't always. I definitely didn't when I was in the throes of addiction. She was like getting dragged in the dirt behind me, like mutilated. She had no part in my life for many, many years. I reunited with her when I was in Croatia in 2019, and I saw the teal water, and I remembered. So I have disciplined play, and disciplined play sounds like an oxymoron. I put playtime in my calendar. So one of these things is I go to the lake every single morning. That's play for me. And it happens first before email, before I pour out to others. It happens first. And then I have in my calendar like block time. So I've talked a lot about block time in my current offering for New Earth Leaders 3D Moves, which, spoiler alert, is an evergreen course that is going to have quarterly Q&As and breathwork journeys. So I'm going to put the link to that in the show notes as well. And as a listener of the podcast, you will receive a special discount code for that. So discipline play. I prioritize playtime. Yes, I walk down the street and I fucking swing on the swing set, and I'm the only grown up doing it. And all the other ones are drinking their coffee by the freaking strollers. And I'm like, hey, this is fun. So, I mean, maybe that might not be play for you, but I made a mural in my apartment the other day because I wanted to. Like, what other reason do you need? Like, if it's fun and you want to, right? Obviously, like, not harming if it's gonna harm someone else, but like creative expression, like this is a fountain to be nourished, or else it does dry up. So another thing I do, like I have disciplined play, but because the inner child is the most powerful part of me and the most powerful part of you and all of us, something I ask myself many times a day: what would your inner child say? What would your inner child do? And honestly, it cuts me through a lot of bullshit that comes up, because it's like I get an email or something and I'm like, oh, I'm making a decision about what's the right next move. And sometimes I get in the weeds a little bit, splitting hairs, and I'm like, what would your inner child say? And it's like, oh, she would be like, no, definitely don't do this because that's not aligned with your big dream. And it's so easy and so clear and so loud. And I'm like, cool. Thanks, previous me, or thanks, real me. And so asking, what would your inner child do? Like, you remember those bracelets in the 90s, like WWJD, what would Jesus do? I think Jesus was a baller. I think he was a person that lived in a way that we can learn a lot from. I have a lot of issues with the church and organized religion. That's a huge dark force in the matrix. So a whole nother fucking episode, probably a whole nother podcast for that topic. But that's something really powerful to connect you to your inner child. And then also asking your inner child what they need. Getting really quiet. And it's really helpful to have a picture of yourself as a kid and just ask them, what do you need now that you didn't get before? So for me, this was really, I wasn't seen a lot. I didn't get heard a lot. I was very much like, I was kind of like a grown-up kid. Like I had a lot of responsibilities in my family, and there was just a lot of things going on where other people in my family needed more than me. Like both of my siblings had different like challenges. Like one of my siblings like was sick a lot, so in the hospital a lot. And so it was just like, and it's like not a fault thing, it's just my journey. Like it's no one's fault, right? I love my family and I'm proud of our journey. I just was like, there's things that were more important than my feelings sometimes. Or like feel or seemed that way, or that was my experience as a kid. So like putting my needs first has been a huge part of my journey in inner child healing, because as a child, I constantly put everybody else around me first because it was the right thing. It felt like the right thing. So asking them what they need. What do you need that you didn't get before? How can I honor you? How can I love you? How can we heal? And letting them know that they're safe. It's huge. And that's a huge thing I do in my work as a breathwork facilitator, is helping people heal their inner child. And it's one of my superpowers because my whole astrology chart is basically like, not the whole thing, but I have 5 planets in the 5th house, which is ruled by Leo, and it's the house of the inner child and joy and play and fun. So it's something that I really love doing with my clients. Like, it's one of my strengths that I get to share. And this is all just so important because, I mean, I've talked about how important it is, but like, a new earth is not going to be a walk in the park. 2020 was the preamble. I'm recording this in March of 2023. Saturn just entered Pisces. Pluto just entered Aquarius. There's a lot of rhetoric in the media about a recession. And I'm sensing in the collective, like, similar fears coming up to 2020. And we see in the astrology, there's going to be a lot of adversity ahead of us. And so there's this idea out there that it's like, well, oh, there's so much darkness in the world. Like, how can I experience joy? How can I be happy when there's so much? And it's like, that's the very reason to prioritize joy. If you're listening to this podcast on a fucking iPhone, you live in a free nation and you're safe, I'm guessing. So it's your responsibility to be joyful, to heal your inner child. Think about the women around the world who literally have hands over their mouths, that cannot speak, and then cannot have their own money, that are not free. Think about all the war zones around the world. So how dare we not fully live this life? How dare we not seize the day? How dare we not prioritize joy and play and learn from the kids in our lives and heal our inner child? So the very reason that a lot of people opt out of joy is the reason to lean into joy, my friends. It is. So Undercover Buddhas and inner child healing. This is your invitation to learn from the undercover Buddhas that walk this earth silently and powerfully and potently when you give them the attention they deserve and respect. And then second, this is your invitation into inner child healing as a leader. So I hope this served you. I seriously love hearing from you. I love hearing how this episode landed, what stood out for you. Like, please tag me on your Instagram stories and give me a shout out so I can celebrate you, so I can see what's coming up for you as you receive these transmissions. And if you have not yet received my free breath audio, it is in the show notes. Go download it. Like, it's a gift. It's a free resource. It's to support you in your journey. And if you want to dive deeper into this work, into this inner child healing work, I do this in one-on-one mentorship and with breath work. So there's a couple different ways you can do so. You can book a single session with me, which we can do breath work. We can do a astrology and breath work combo. And I also have something called Immersion Day. That's a whole day with me. We can lean into inner child healing there as well. That also includes a digital detox. And then I also have spaces for one-on-one mentorship available. So this is 3, 6, 9, or 12-month deep dive where I'm just in your life and I'm your ride or die for that long, and we heal and manifest and change your fucking life and your impact. So all of those, please explore in the show notes. if this podcast is changing your life, if you love the pod, I do ask that you take the time to write a review. It really, really helps the podcast. And like, I'm a new podcast, and it just helps when people can read other people's experiences. So when you do that, you get entered to win one of my breathwork astrology masterclasses. So there's a fun bonus there. There's all kinds of goodies and ways that you can dive deeper into this work. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. Go out there and be the real you. Remember that your ideas matter. Remember that you're important, that you're needed, that you're guided, that the whole universe has your back. Your one job is to just listen, to pay attention, to be supported, to love yourself, to learn, to take responsibility, to grow, and then to share your unique contributions. You are one of a kind. You're rare, you're unique, you're amazing, you're beautiful, just as you are, and you are loved. Remember the undercover Buddha that lives within you. And when you forget, look to the undercover Buddhas around you. I love you so much. Go out there, be the light, be the change, and I will see you next time on A Better World with Adrienne.